Hi everybody, it's Dion from the Stitcher's Muse. I was recently asked by a customer about some different methods for holding your cross stitch fabric while you're stitching. So I thought I'd do this quick little video to explain the 3 different ways that I'm most familiar with. So I do a lot of stitching in hand, meaning that I just take my fabric and I basically just stitch on it as it is without holding it through with anything. But a lot of people do like to have their fabric nicely stretched. So I'm going to start off with my least favorite method. This is using a wooden hoop or a plastic hoop, which does hold it fairly taut for you. However, it has some disadvantages, and I'll explain those. First of all, I find that by pinching the fabric around in a hoop, you end up with what I call hoop marks, which are pinch points, so the fold, the crease becomes quite strong, and it can sometimes be very difficult to actually get the crease back out again. Plus, when you're holding onto it like this, the oils from your skin, which are natural, they just come, and any dirt you might have also come on there. So you may end up with these circles with that look oily or dirty on there as well. It can be quite difficult to get out. Plus, there's no way to hold your extra fabric. So that's basically hoops in a nutshell. My next 2 methods address some of those issues. First off, I'm going to show you the Q-snap. This is basically a PVC pipe that has a clamp that goes over top of it. It's really easy to take your fabric on and off. Whoops. Sure, it's easy, except for when I'm doing it, right? By just pulling the clamps off. When you want to put your fabric on, you just place it across the bars and just clamp those on there, just like that. When you finish stitching for the day, you probably should release the tension on your fabric. It's really easy to do with these. You just grab onto those side bars and just twist them around, and you can see that your fabric becomes nice and loose. When you're ready to start stitching again, it's just a matter of reversing that movement and it becomes drum tight. Now sometimes your stitching will make them come a little bit on the loose side, but you can see how easy it is to just twist those to tighten them up again. I also have an added little feature on these. These are called spool peels, and they come in 4 different colors, and we sell those as well. They're basically just a bit of silicone in a curl, and the reason I use these is to help keep my extra fabric up out of the way so I don't accidentally stitch through 2 layers of fabric. Trust me, I speak from personal experience. I've done it more than once. So those are Q-snaps. Now the other reason that I like these is that I can actually pinch them between the edge of a table and my lap so that I can do what I call 2-fisted stitching, and I'll show you that in just a minute after I introduce the scroll frame. So this is the 3rd method of holding your cross stitch fabric. It is called a scroll frame because it scrolls. It's usually made up of 2 dowels and 2 side pieces on either side, and there are 3 different methods for holding your fabric onto here. One of them is with the twill tape, which is the method that I show you here, and you pin or sew your fabric onto the scroll bar that way, and this side is rolled up so that it's out of the way. I usually use a sewing machine to sew my fabric on, but this is a temporary project. I want to be able to take it off quickly in case somebody buys the scroll frame, so I've just pinned mine on. There's also hook and loop tape or Velcro that is put on the bars, and you put the other side on your fabric, and that can help to hold it as well. And a 3rd method is with a split rail, where they actually cut a split right down the middle of each scroll frame, and that pinches your fabric. I like the twill tape the best, but the other methods work fine too. So this also allows you to do 2-fisted stitching, so I'm just going to demonstrate to you exactly what I mean by that. So now if only I can find my needle, which I have misplaced. I'm going to pause this video for a minute just until I can find my needle. Hang on. Sorry about that. All right, found my needle. So when I'm talking about 2-fisted stitching, I'm just going to aim the camera down into my lap so that you can see what I'm doing. So basically what I do is I just pinch the Q-snap between my tummy and the table, and I have one hand underneath the fabric and one hand on the top, so that when I am pushing the needle down, my other hand reaches underneath and grabs the needle. And then it puts it back up again, where I grab it with my other hand and pull it out. So the advantage of doing this is that you can pretty quickly get your stitches done. And you're avoiding the whole thing where you are moving your hand back and forth. So if you are holding on to your Q-snap or your hoop or whatever with one hand, you're basically having to put your needle down, move your hand around and pull from the other side, and then flip your needle over and push it back up, move your hand back up to the top and pull your needle out. So you can see that quite a bit more time is involved in each stitch versus when you're doing this and just popping it in and out. And you do get pretty quick at figuring out where your needle should go, which obviously I'm not doing at the moment because I'm not really watching where my needles are going. This also works really well if you have a table stand or a floor stand to hold on to. With the scroll bar, it has a slightly added advantage that because of its size, and you can do that with the larger Q-snaps as well, the one I demonstrated is a 6-inch, is that you can rest one side on the table and again do your two-fisted stitching by having one hand underneath. Now most people will have their right hand underneath and their left hand on top, and actually I might be able to show you a little bit better what the needle is doing if I do that. So basically you're just doing this. Of course, you're doing it according to the pattern that you're stitching, but I think you get the idea of how much quicker that is. And also you can wedge it that way as well and hold it. But with the size of the scroll frame, it can be a little bit wobbly. Anyhow, so that is basically the 3 different methods that I'm most familiar with using for holding cross-stitch fabric in place as you're stitching. I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. And thank you so much for watching. Remember to hit the like button at the bottom of this YouTube video, so help spread the word. Bye for now.